Hello, I'm Lilda Smits for the Finance News Network. Joining me from Lizard Investors are its Chief Investment Officer, Leah Zell, and Co-Portfolio Manager, John Moog. Lizard Investors are the investment manager of the recently launched Pengana Global Small Companies Fund. Leah, John, welcome to Australia.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lilda.
Leah, for investors not familiar with the fund, could you start by providing a brief overview?
Yes, so we invest in small to mid-cap equities globally, outside of Australia. And we believe that the best way to invest in small cap equities is to look for asymmetric opportunities, really outliers that we think that can perform. We have a huge universe. We want to be very selective about what we buy, and we buy between 30 and 50 names and concentrate and get to know them extremely well.
Okay, Leah, and John, what is the composition of the portfolio?
Currently, the portfolio is made up of about 30 investments, and there's no geographic or industry concentration at the moment. It's a pretty broad-based, diversified investment.
Right, so what's the rationale behind this structure?
Right now, the rationale is always our rationale, which is fundamental, bottoms-up, value-oriented investing.
And John, what are some of the larger positions in the portfolio, and why do you hold them?
Sure. Some of the larger positions in the portfolio currently, one is a company in Japan called Broadleaf. It's the largest aftermarket auto parts database in Japan, has 70% market share, has a dominant market position, and is growing their transaction business over time, which should create a lot of value.
Certainly, and could you provide another example?
Absolutely. We're invested in an Italian credit ratings business named Served. We're excited about the business because we think it can compound value for a long period of time, generates a tremendous amount of cash flow, and we were able to buy it at about 10 times earnings, which is something we think is a great value for the quality of business it is.
Thank you, John. And Leah, turning to the current market environment, where have you identified opportunities to find great small cap investments?
So the advantage of being generalists and the advantage of being global is that we can be opportunistic. And we're opportunistic not in short term. We don't worry about whether Modi is going to be elected in Italy, in India rather, or whether what's happening with Greece, for example, in Europe. But we can look at longer structural changes. So, for example, in Japan, there's a huge push towards better corporate governance. So we can screen for companies that are working on utilizing their cash balances better and are improving their return on equity. In Europe, there have been many companies that have gone public that were owned by private equity, because after the financial crisis, it took a couple of years for these companies to be restructured and then floated. And there have been many opportunities where they've come public, the price has gone down, they're very good companies, but they're trading at very attractive rates. Served, which John just talked about, is an example of one of those kinds of companies. And emerging markets have been a bad place to be, but some of them are now moving into value territory, and the companies are very good, but nobody wants to invest there. So Brazil is an example of a market that we have been out of for a number of years, but we're now starting to see opportunities emerge.
Finally, Leah, what differences have you noted in small cap markets across different countries?
Look, we invest in companies, in countries, and in currencies. And so I call it three-dimensional chess. And I would not say that there's a particular country that we like more than any other country, but I think if you do what we do, you have to be cognizant of how the culture impacts how companies are run. And that's part of what I think is the institutional memory that gives us a competitive edge in investing.
Leah and John, thank you for the update from the Pengana Global Small Companies Fund.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Yeah, thank you so much.